Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting out war against the Grey. Today's video, we are going to talk Warhammer 40,000, and today we're going to take a look at the Necrons, and in particular, the Canoptek Court Detachment. Now, in this video, we're going to go through the army rule here first before looking at the Canoptek Detachment's rules. This includes its detachment rule itself, the stratagems it has, and the enhancements as well. After that, we'll look at a couple of units we recommend to get started with for this particular faction, before exploring some other unit options after that as well to expand upon those first couple of initial purchases. We'll then finally finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own force of the Necrons using the Canoptek Court Detachment in Warhammer 40,000. And so, to begin with, we have Reanimation Protocols. This essentially will allow us to heal our Necron units. At the end of your command phase, you activate Reanimation Protocols for all your Necron units with the special rule, and they reanimate D3 wounds. This will either begin to heal wounded models back up to full health, or if you've got no wounded models in your units, if you've not got a full strength unit, you've not got your starting strength, you can return a model with a wound remaining to the unit. Once a unit is both at its starting strength and has no models with any number of wounds, nothing further will happen with this ability. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. Now, of course, we are going to talk about the Canoptek Court, though, in this video, so the detachment rule is really important. This is called Power Matrix, and what this means is certain areas of the battlefield are considered to be within your army's Power Matrix. This will give you certain little buffs. Now, at the start of the game and at the start of each of the phases, you'll need to determine where your power matrix is. Your deployment zone is always considered to be part of your army's power matrix, but at the start of any phase, if you control at least half the objective markers within no man's land, until the end of that phase, no man's land is within your army's power matrix, and at the start of any phase, if you control at least half the objectives in your opponent's deployment zone, your opponent's deployment zone is in your power matrix. It is not required to have no man's land as a power matrix part for you to have your opponents and vice versa. So you could have, say, your deployment zone and your opponent's deployment zone as power matrix, but not the no man's land middle of the table area. Now, each time a Cryptek or Canoptek unit from your army makes an attack, they just re-roll hit rolls of 1. However, if they are wholly within your power matrix, you can just re-roll the hit roll entirely instead. Now, moving on, we have enhancements. We have 4 of them, and these are all for Cryptek models only. The first one gives the bearer's unit Infiltrate, which is a really cool ability. Hyperphasic Fulcrum will allow, while the bearer is leading a unit, to reroll wound rolls of 1 while they're within our power matrix, making, a really decently powered unit, because they'd be rerolling hits and rerolling wound rolls of 1, which could be really, really good. Auto Devonator, each time your opponent gains a command point as a part of an ability, so I'm thinking things like the Swarm Lord or the Autarch that have abilities. This doesn't include generating them for the turn, because that's not from an ability, that's just from a rule. Roll 1d6 on a 2+, you also gain a CP. Metaldermal Tesla Weave as well, another one for the Crypteks. Once per phase, when an enemy unit selects the bearer's units as the target of a charge roll, on a 2 to 3, the enemy unit will suffer D3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, the enemy unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. Now, it should be noted that this doesn't have to be a successful charge, it's just once you're selected as a charge, which is pretty cool. Moving on, next we then have our stratagems. The first of these is Curse of the Cryptek. This is a battle tactic, and you use it in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has shot or fought. One Cryptek model from your army that was destroyed can effectively place a curse on them. This will allow friendly Canoptek units that target that unit to add 1 to their hit and wound rolls against that unit for the rest of the game. Cynosure over Eradication is another battle tactic for a single CP. At the start of your shooting phase or during the fight phase, this can be used. You select a Cryptek or Canoptek unit from your army that's wholly within your power matrix, and until the end of that phase, weapons equipped by models in that unit can have sustained hits 1. Solar Pulse is used in your shooting phase. One Cryptek model can use it. You select an objective marker within 18 inch of the Cryptek model, and until the end of that phase, weapons equipped by friendly Necron models have the Ignored Cover ability while they target models wholly within range of that objective. Reactive subroutines is for Canoptek units. Your opponent's movement phase is when it's used, just after an enemy unit finishes a normal move, advance, or fall back. If they finish within 3 inches of you, you can make a 6-inch move. This is really, really clutch. This will change so many battles in such a significant way. The counter temporal shift for another CP. Canoptek unit once again during your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit selects its target. This means you can't be targeted if the enemy units are not within 12 inches of you from shooting. And lastly, suboptimal facade. During your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy unit declares a charge, a Canoptek unit can activate their reanimation protocols so long as they are wholly within your army's power matrix. And so, where to begin with for our Necron force? For me, I really do like some of the named characters that are the Cryptek of the Force, and for me, Orican the Diviner, I think, is just the perfect place to start. Starting off, when he joins a warrior unit or an immortals unit, he will give them a 4-up invulnerable save, which is really nice for units that are already fairly resistant. Now, the stars are right as well. Once per battle, he can get some really powerful damage out of himself as well. And the star for tomorrow is devastating wounds as well, which is really nice. A range attack in melee, so 2 attacks, weapon skill 3 plus strength 4, minus 3 AP, damage D3, which is nice. And of course, that extra sort of boost of power he can get will triple his attacks and strength characteristic of his staff for tomorrow. For every successful wound roll made for this model's attack, scores a critical wound as well. Really, really powerful piece to have on the table, and it's just fantastic. Now, of course, going with him, we have Necron Warriors, a standard sort of unit. They are just going to be solid as a rock, especially with a 4-up invulnerable on them. Reanimation protocols with their number is Legion allows them to reroll the dice. Reanimation roll dice, so you get a D3, you're not happy with it, you can re-roll it for them. They do have 2 different weapon options. Either you can gain a point of AP with the Gauss Reaper, or you get Rapid Fire 1 with the Gauss Flayer. Both of these weapons will have lethal hits as well. Now, not to mention, you do get a couple of Canoptek Scarab Swarms with them as well. These can be used as little remote detonators and destroy enemy models nearby them when they explode, which is pretty darn cool. Now, looking at where to go next, the other battle line unit for the Necrons, the Necron Immortals, is another great unit that combines well with many of the different Cryptek models we have. Necron Immortals have 2 main weapon options that we can choose from, the first of these being the Gauss Blasters, lethal hit weapons, the 2 shots, strength 5, minus 1 AP, damage 1, or we've got the Tesla Carbines as well. These are assault weapons with sustained hits 2. Really, really cool. And the reason I like this is combining with the Plasmancer, whose ability is to give the unit he joins the critical hits on a 5+. I really like Tesla Carbines and a Plasmancer as a great anti-infantry unit. They will go in and do a ton of hits and ton of damage into enemy infantry. Now, moving on to another unit we can bring in, the Canoptek Wraiths. Obviously, we're going to want some Canoptek units in this force. They benefit from some of our stratagems. And so, Canoptek Wraiths are a solid unit. They are going to be really, really solid, especially with some of the buffs they can now get from various models they can join. You've got the options of Vicious Claws for less attacks, but you are minus 1 AP, damage 2, and strength 6. You got more attacks coming out of the Whip Coils, but no AP, just damage 1, and only strength 4 with them. You got a couple of different weapon options for your guns. The Transdimensional Beamer is a much more powerful shot, but just a single one. Or you've got the Devastating Wounds pistol weapons, which are regularly pretty naff with no AP and damage 1, but Devastating Wounds is there for a chance as well. Now, the big thing I think that really sets Wraiths apart now is going to be the Technomancer, which is a fantastic model, and you actually can pick it up inside the Necrons Kill Team box set at current, if you are looking for that on the web store. Now, the Technomancer has a cool ability where he gives the unit he joins Feel No Pain 5+, and it can join Wraiths, which is really, really awesome. This can just make your Wraiths so much more durable, and also just the fact that at the end of your movement phase, you can select a friendly Necrons model within 3 inches of the bearer, and that model will regain D3 lost wounds, so pretty cool as well, helping keep those Wraiths alive even more. Now, moving on, we then definitely need a little bit of anti-armor, and the Canoptek Doomstalker is a really fun piece. Now, this is a giant sort of gun on legs. You could say, really, that's exactly what it is. Canoptek Doomstalker is going to have the options of a weapon, so it's going to have its Doomsday Blaster, blast and heavy weapon, 48 inch range, d6 plus 1 attacks, ballistic skill 4 plus, strength 14, minus 3 AP and damage 3. Really solid gun. And the twin ghost flares are lethal hits weapons with twin linked, couple of extra shots in there. The big thing is Sentinel Construct, where each time you target this unit with the Fire Overwatch stratagem, you can actually get them refunded on a 5+ back to you. Now lastly, another named character I really like for this force is another one of the Cryptek characters, and that is Illuminor Ceres. His big thing is going to be his ability of mechanical augmentation. Necron battle line units within 3 inches of this model, each time they make an attack, improve their AP by 1 and improve the AP, or rather their defense, so negate the AP by 1 of attacks coming into them. And he can also increase the range of this if he ever actually kills anything in the fight phase as well, which is pretty sweet. He's also got a built-in Feel No Pain 4+, which is nice as well. And so here we have our sample army list for the Necrons of the Canoptek Court. We have Illuminor Ceres and Orokin the Diviner in there. Illuminor Ceres really does function as another sort of really good heavy hitting piece. He can do quite a bit of range damage and quite a bit of melee damage if we need him to. Orokin the Diviner is just an amazing piece to keep a Necron Warriors unit on the table at all times. He's going to be our Warlord. And then we have a Plasmancer and a Technomancer in there as well. The Immortals have Tesla Carbines. They'll be joined by the Plasmancer. And the Necron Warriors will be joined by Orokin the Diviner. Our Canoptek Wraith unit will then be joined by the Technomancer, giving them Feel No Pain 5+. Canoptek Doomstalker, and then our big battle line units are going to be sticking around Illuminor Ceres to get the most out of his ability to give them some extra AP and help them survive even longer. The combination of Orokin and Ceres on a unit of warriors is super nice. Now, if you've got some ideas on your own Cryptek Court force, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description, and also linked down there are the best ways to help support the channel as well. Our Patreon and YouTube members down there are fantastic ways to help support the channel, and if you'd like to get a shout out like all these people, you can go and join up today. So with that said, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons: Rob B, Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, Q Damac, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowe and Soren, and to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.